to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) slamming a fresh charge at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory against the embattled former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. According to the charge, the EFCC accused Emefiele of approving the printing of 684.5 million naira at the cost of 18.9 billion naira. In the 4-count charge sheet, the EFCC alleged that Emefiele broke the law with intent to harm the public during his implementation of the Naira swap policy of the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The anti-graft agency also accused Emefiele of unlawfully approving the withdrawal of 124.8 billion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. You will recall that Emefiele was on November 18, 2023, arraigned before the court on 6 counts of procurement fraud. He was also accused of abusing his office by approving a contract to acquire 43 vehicles totaling 1.2 billion naira from 2018 till 2020. On Monday, April 8, 2024, the EFCC arraigned the former Apex Bank governor for an alleged $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira fraud. Since Emefiele's suspension in June 2023, the government has investigated the management of the CBN during his tenure. Meanwhile, some youths in Kogi State have protested the planned arrest of former Governor Yaya Bello by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). The Anti-Graft Commission is prosecuting the former Kogi governor over alleged 80.2 billion naira fraud. The youths, under the auspices of the Coalition of Civil Society for Democracy and the Africa Youth Coalition for Justice, took to the streets in Kogi in the numbers and barricaded the Lokoja-Abuja highway. They were seen carrying banners with various inscriptions calling on the president to call the EFCC to order and alleging that the EFCC must stop witch hunting Yaya Bello as he remains a responsible citizen. Addressing journalists in Lokoja, the convener of the coalition, Richard Otitoleke, said the groups were on ground in defense of the rule of law and the democratic governance. He called for caution and adherence to the rule of law in Yaya Bello's trial and accused the EFCC of engaging in the media trial of the former governor. He therefore called on President Bola Tinubu to urgently examine the activities of the EFCC to ensure that their operations are professional in accordance with the extant laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In the meantime, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) is planning to invite all the SAC's head of agencies in the Ministry of Aviation over the failed Nigeria Air project. VOP News gathered that the SAC officials are being invited in connection with an ongoing investigation of a former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, relating to money laundering amounting to 8.069 billion naira. The anti-graft agency plans to formally invite all the SAC's head of agencies who worked directly under Senator Sirika in the Aviation Ministry. An EFCC official told journalists that letters of invitation to the sacked and suspended officials were already prepared to come over to explain their roles in the alleged different fraudulent activities that took place in the ministry under Sirika. You will recall that President Bola Tinubu sacked the heads of Nigeria's aviation agencies in December 2023, including the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology. In Rivers State, Governor Sim Fubara has implemented a minor cabinet reshuffle. Affected by the reshuffle are the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Zacchaeus Adango, and the Commissioner for Finance, Isaac Kamalu. A statement on Tuesday signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Tami Danagogo, announced that Governor Fubara has redeployed Adanga to the Ministry of Special Duties, while Kamalu was transferred to the Ministry of Employment Generation and Economic Empowerment. The statement directed both officials to hand over official documents relating to their previous offices to their respective permanent secretaries, with the redeployment taking immediate effect. The statement emphasized that all handover processes must be completed immediately. Both commissioners, who are loyalists of ex-Governor Nyesom Wike, had previously resigned from their positions last December in the heat of the political crisis in the state. The Rivers State government did not provide the reason for their redeployment. While in Lagos State, as part of Air Force to ensure a seamless takeoff of the Lagos State Certified Accreditors Program, the Lagos State Building Control Agency has commenced rigorous integrated training for its officials stationed across all districts, divisions, and departments. Speaking at the program, the Special Advisor to the Governor on EGIS and Urban Development, Dr. Olajide Babatunde, explained that the main reason for the partnership, which has been in the pipeline since 2021, is basically for zero tolerance to building collapses through robust monitoring and inspection of all ongoing constructions in the state, as the government cannot do the job alone. He noted that Lagos is blessed with large numbers of professionals in the building environment who are ready to bring in their expertise and capacity to ensure that buildings in the state are constructed to meet international standards. You're listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Now joining me to discuss issues on the news this afternoon, I have with me development economist, acclaimed author, as well as political, social and national affairs analyst, Mr. Peter Anosike. Welcome to the World News at 12, Mr. Anosike.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Let's begin with the very first issue we'll be discussing today, which is EFCC versus Emefiele. There's been so many charges ever since Emefiele was suspended and has been going through all of his legal tussle, this legal battle with the EFCC. The latest is that the EFCC is accusing him of illegal printing of money, and of course the Naira swap issue, the Naira redesign issue, or recoloring, as some people would say. They're saying, look, you approved the printing of 684.5 million Naira, printing Nigerian currency. Of course, that's one of the jobs of the CBN. But the problem here is you're printing 684 million at the cost of 18.9 billion naira. If this really happened, as the EFCC is saying, as governor of the central bank, shouldn't he know better? Because it's a loss if you're using billions to print millions. It's a huge loss to the economy. It's a huge loss to Nigerians. Nigerians will suffer for that. What are the economic implications of this?
Well, for me, I have said this thing over and over. In the United States, it takes 4 cents to print $100 bill, $50 bill, $20 bill, and so on and so forth. Every American knows how much it takes to print their currency. But in this country, it is a secret. So, up till now, we don't know how much 20 naira is printed, 50 naira, 100 naira, 1,000 naira, and so on and so forth. So this doesn't show transparency in any way. And the CBN governor is under the supervision of the president. The CBN governor cannot on his own print even 1 naira without the approval of the president. So what they are doing is just witch hunting. It is Buhari that is in a position to answer this question. Because Emefiele has no power to print any currency without approval from the president.
That is to say, it is Buhari who should come and answer the question as to why he gave the order for Emefiele to print such amount of money.
What Emefiele did was just to act on order from the president. So he just obeyed order. Maybe there was a need for printing of currency. He sent approval to the president and the president okayed it. He wouldn't have printed it if the president didn't approve it. So the main person that should be answering this question is the president, not the former CBN governor.
Okay, if the former president should be the one answering this question, and that is one aspect of this conversation. On the other hand, and that's why I ask, what is the economic implication of this kind of decision of saying we want to print currency, right? We want to print millions, and we're printing millions with billions. When you say that Nigerians do not know what it costs to print our currency, this EFCC investigation, is it giving us an insight into that? Because it's a loss to the CBN, is a loss to Nigeria, is a loss to Nigerians.
For me, it is only a madman that can use billions to print millions. It doesn't make any economic sense. It doesn't make any economic sense. And Emefiele was formerly the MD of Zenith Bank before being appointed the CBN. He should know this.
So he knows better.
He should know this.
Even if the former president had approved this, he should have known better to tell him, look, this is not a good suggestion.
It doesn't make any business sense. It doesn't make any economic sense.
Okay, so many allegations and accusations against Emefiele by the EFCC. They have accused him of conferring corrupt advantage on his wife and brother-in-law. They've accused him of abusing his office by approving a contract to acquire 43 vehicles totaling 1.2 billion between 2018 to 2020. They've accused him of an alleged $4.5 billion and 2.8 billion naira fraud. With all of this, right, is it that maybe the EFCC has not gathered enough evidence to be able to fully prosecute Emefiele in the course of these investigations in about a month or two? In about 2 months, yes. This would have been going on for almost a year.
Well, every day new information come, new things unfold. So it is an investigation. It has no end. But with just one concluded investigation, you can go on and prosecute any suspect.
If you say that the former president is in the best position to answer these and the other questions that the EFCC has been asking Emefiele, why then is he, in the grand scheme of things, why is he not in the picture? He's never been in the picture. Is Emefiele a fall guy? Is he a scapegoat? Is he the one who's been witch hunted now, seeing as he's been the one answering all of these questions, and no one else from the previous administration or anyone else who's worked with him in the economic team is answering as much questions as he has had to answer?
Well, this is a country that was founded on corruption. As we speak, Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa, is in jail. So Buhari has no immunity
Anymore.
He has no. Your immunity expires the minute that your tenure ends.
One would think if the EFCC can go after Yaya Bello, they should be able to go after the former president as well.
Buhari has no immunity as we speak. And the former president of the United States is going to court now for offenses that he committed as the president of the United States because his immunity has expired. So it is just because it is APC that took over from APC. So they don't want to prosecute their own.
If you say they don't want to prosecute their own, Yaya Bello is one of their own.
I'm talking of the president.
And you're talking of the president. Okay. Just yesterday, we're talking about an APC chieftain, Timmy Frank, who said that... Former APC chieftain, yes, Timmy Frank. He was their former national secretary, who said that if the EFCC can go after Yaya Bello, they should be able to go after others as well. He listed quite some names, Wike and others. He talked about Okize Ikbazu as well, and a few other names that he mentioned. Right. In this case, Emefiele, Yaya Bello, and others, do we see them as fall guys? Because he spoke about, so it wouldn't look like a witch hunting. If there are, and the EFCC gives excuses by saying, okay, there are no petitions against these people, we cannot go after someone if there is no petition against them. In cases where there are petitions against people and the EFCC is not going after them, can we say that the EFCC is being biased in its going after people who've been accused of corruption, misappropriation of funds, and fraud?
From foundation, EFCC has been biased. EFCC has been subjective. EFCC has never been objective. For any high-profile person to be arrested, the presidency must approve of it. That's the truth. So the chairman of EFCC will first of all, and that the presidency are moving against this person. Should I go? That is what happens, even though they will not admit it. There have never been any objectivity in their functions. So
that is, you are saying that the EFCC is not independent in its action.
It is never it has
but
never
it was
been
created to be.
It has never been and will never be.
Okay, not to dwell too much on this conversation, let's move on to other cases. And it's still the case of the EFCC against someone else right now, Yaya Bello. Right, some youths in Kogi State have protested against the planned arrest of our former governor of the state, Yaya Bello, by the EFCC. We know that EFCC has been after Yaya Bello. Just last week, they laid siege to his Abuja residence. They are saying he defrauded the state of 80.2 billion naira. Now, these youths are saying look, it's time for the president to call the EFCC to order. The EFCC is witch hunting Yaya Bello. He's a responsible citizen and he didn't do all of these things that he was being accused of. But just when the EFCC laid siege to his residence last year, certain people who worked with him came out to say, look, he not only defrauded the state, but he didn't bring any sort of development to the state that would make the citizens say, oh, when he was governor for 8 years, our lives became better in so and so way. Yaya Bello himself has said, oh, I'm scared of arrest and that's why I can't show up and that's why I'm hiding and that's why I'm in court, which we can say is understandable, right? But in all of this, I want to ask the question, why is it that when cases like this come up with someone, especially in the ruling party, the next thing is you hear people calling on the president for help? Is that said that the president should stop the EFCC from carrying out their duties?
The youths were paid for that. They were somebody mobilized and paid them for this because another name for democracy is development. Yaya Bello did not bring any development in his state for the 8 years he was there. It was 8 years of waste. Under their tenure, he was the youngest and the most wasteful. So those youths must have been paid to carry out that protest.
You are saying these people do not believe in what they are saying, but they are literally working for someone.
They believe in the money that they were paid to do that.
In all of this, that is to say, no one in his right mind will come and say, oh, EFCC, don't go after Yaya Bello. We believe he's a good man.
Yaya Bello underdeveloped his state.
Okay. Let's look at the EFCC and, their history of actually going after people who have been accused of corruption. From Emefiele, now we're talking about Yaya Bello, and that's why I go back to what Timmy Frank said yesterday about other people who they should actually go after as well. From there, still on the EFCC, and now they've gone after Hadi Sirika. Yesterday, the news broke that Hadi Sirika is answering questions for the 8.069 billion naira Nigeria air fraud. You've always advocated for Hadi Sirika's arrest based on the the fraudulent Nigeria air case that they unveiled just before former President Muhammadu Buhari was due to end his tenure, his administration in Nigeria. Now, the EFCC is planning to invite all the sacked heads of agencies in the Ministry of Aviation over the failed Nigeria Air project. They're saying everyone who worked with Hadi Sirika, we want them, we need them to come and answer questions. Now, these are most of the people that after current incumbent President Bola Tinubu came into power, he sacked them, like the heads of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, the Airspace Management Agency, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, the Nigerian College of Aviation, Nigerian Meteorological Agency. All of those people have been sacked, right, by the incumbent president. In all of this, when you call them and say, oh, come and answer questions with Hadi Sirika, there is, if he's the head, if the minister, of all of this is the heads of all of these agencies. I mean, he was the Minister of Aviation as at that point. Is there anything that they could have done to dissuade him from taking that path of Nigeria Air? And also, doesn't Buhari also have questions to answer as regards Nigeria Air? Why is he being just put aside? Why is he being treated as a sacred cow while every other person answers the questions?
Well, Buhari handed over to the president. Understand? So the president owe him a responsibility. The president owe him appreciation because the president brought Buhari in 2015 because Buhari has a so-called 12 million voters in the north. And that was what the president relied on to win his 2023 presidential election. So you don't bite a finger that feed you.
And this is all the reason why Buhari cannot be asked any question.
Because Nigeria is a country that was founded, that was built not to work.
If we even negate, the place of legality in all of this, does it not override a moral law? It's like when you have a department and the head of department keeps acting or like they don't know what's going on in their department. You have someone who's the head of a team, and when something goes wrong, they tell you to blame the team members rather than the head? Should he not be the one answering all those questions? If you say, okay, it's because of, oh, he's in the ruling party or he's the former president and all of that. Others in the ruling party, Emefiele contested for primaries at the same time when the incumbent president was. So Emefiele, Yaya Bello, Adisirika, they were all in this administration, but now they are being more or less, quote unquote, fall guys.
And that's why Emefiele is going through what he's going through at this moment.
Should we expect the same form of prosecution for Hadi Sirika, who's now been arrested by the EFCC?
Well, for me, what is going on is a propaganda and a perception game. That is what is going on at the moment.
What do you mean?
The APC are deceiving Nigerians.
How?
They want to show that something is going on. So I would believe that Tinubu is fighting corruption when I see Hadi Sirika in Kuje prison. Anything outside than that is a mere deception.
When you say it's a perception game, to what end?
To deceive Nigerians, to give the impression that something is going on, that they are fighting corruption.
You mean all of this is to make it look like we are working?
That is it. Mind you, the report was that Sirika was arrested. Sirika was never arrested. Sirika was invited to EFCC for questioning. I said there's a very big difference between being arrested and being invited. He came on his own to EFCC. He wasn't escorted. He wasn't accompanied. He came on his own to EFCC office to answer questions, the same way Beta Edu did. So he wasn't arrested.
If that is the case, what should Nigerians expect to come out of all of this, EFCC versus Hadi Sirika and the other former heads of aviation agencies?
Until we see them in jail, in Kuje prison.
You will not agree that they have been properly prosecuted or they have gotten the rewards for everything they did while in office?
Until we see them in Kuje prison.
Do you expect him to get there?
No, I don't.
Why is that?
Because nothing serious is going on. It is deception that is going on at the moment.
If he were arrested rather than invited, would you have a different opinion?
They are deceiving the Nigerians. They want to show that they are fighting corruption because that's one of the pillars of their campaign, that they are going to fight corruption. Where is Omar Farouk? Where is the former AGF? So these are people who stole our finances, but because they are in the good book of the former president and the current president, nothing is happening. The people that they are fighting now are those whose crime were so open. Social media has escalated their case that there's nothing that they can do about it. That's why they say, okay, come, let us give the impression that something is
You're
going
saying
on.
all of this is just due to the nation's national outcry?
Social media escalation of their cases, because the Nigeria Air thing was an open thing. There's no way it could be covered. Better Edu own was an open thing. There's no way it could be covered. The Ministry of Human Resources was an open thing. That's why it cannot be covered. Understand? Billions of naira was stolen in the Ministry of Education. Understand me? Billions of naira was stolen in the power ministry, in the housing industry, and so on and so forth. But social media did not beam their searchlight on those areas. That's why nothing's happening there.
All right, then. Let's move on from the EFCC and their anti-corruption campaign, even though you do not see it as such. Let's go to Rivers State, where Governor Fubara seems to have been pulling his weight recently. He has reshuffled his cabinet and redeployed two of Wike's loyalists to, different sectors. He moved. A statement by the secretary to the Rivers State government announced that Governor Fubara redeployed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and also the Commissioner for Finance. He redeployed the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice, took him to the Ministry of Employment Generation and Economic Empowerment, and took the other person to the Ministry of Special Duties. Can we say that Governor Fubara is finally acting in the capacity of a governor? Now, I'm asking this because these two commissioners are both loyalists of former Governor Nyesom Wike, who is now Minister of the FCT. They had previously resigned their position in the heat of the political crisis in the state. And of course, when there was a rift between now Governor Fubara and his predecessor, they were reinstated as part of the peace agreements initiated by President Bola Tinubu. And right now, this is happening. Can we say Governor Fubara is finally acting in the way that he should have acted in the beginning? We know many people called him a weak man then.
Well, this is a very strategic move, because these are very important positions. And mind you, Wike wrote the names of the commissioners and their ministries. And these are very one. Ministry of Finance was where Fubara was under Wike. Then Attorney General of the Fed, Attorney General, Commissioner of the state, understand? These are positions that you don't give to your enemies. Because if he is to be impeached tomorrow, the Attorney General who is going to be part of it. Then the Finance Commissioner is somebody who will be supervising how he is spending his money. So you don't give your enemies these two positions. So it's a very good move. It's very strategic. He has pushed them to where they can be irrelevant. But as Attorney General of the state, it is strategic. So it is his own person that should be there. Minister of Finance, it is his own person that should be there.
Someone who will be loyal to him.
His own person that can also protect him, because there's inbuilt corruption in any government in the world.
Can you say that this will rekindle the people's confidence in him as their governor?
I'm not a Fubara person, but this is a very strategic move. So I commend the boldness.
Okay, as much as we want to continue with the conversation, our time is fast spent and we need to go. But we'll go before thanking you, Mr. Anosike, so much for joining me on the World News at 12 this afternoon. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your input, thank you for your analysis, and thank you for your presence.
Thank you for having me.
Have an amazing day. You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. On the foreign scene, the United States Senate has approved a controversial landmark bill that could ensure TikTok is banned in America. The United States has offered TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance 9 months to sell its stake, or the app will be blocked. The bill will now be handed over to U.S. President Joe Biden, who has said he will sign it into law as soon as it reaches his desk. TikTok has said that it did not have an immediate response to the development, as previously ByteDance said it would oppose any attempt to force it to sell TikTok. If the US is successful in forcing ByteDance to sell TikTok, any deal would still need approval from Chinese officials, but Beijing has vowed to oppose any such move. The measure was passed as part of a package of 4 bills, which also included the military aid for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, and other US partners in the Indo-Pacific region. And now to wrap up the world news at 12, here again at the top stories. You heard that the EFCC has slammed the fresh charges on Emefiele for illegal currency printing. Youth protest EFCC planned arrest over Yaya Bello. EFCC to invite sacked heads of aviation agencies amid the Hadi Sirika probe. And Governor Fubara reshuffles cabinet, deploys Wike's loyalists. On the foreign scene, TikTok faces US ban as Biden set to sign bill. And that is a wrap on the world news at 12. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM for coverage of your live event and brand news mentioned in our news bulletins. Do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. Up next is Matters with Ikami Jude.